There are so many versions of Doom that have been released to various platforms over the years. When a game is re-released that much, of course content is added and removed, and Doom is no exception. In all, there are 10 single-player levels which have officially been released in various Doom ports that have never seen their way into the modern re-releases. Of course, if you hunt through the mod section of the modern Doom release, you might find some of these levels, but that doesn't really do justice to the importance they had. One of the big reasons I believe Bethesda and id Software should release the Jaguar level set as their own collection is so there's an easy way for curious new fans of Doom to go back and experience what many in the 1990s considered their gateway into the series. And of course, there's the novelty of the original Xbox secret levels, which were added in as a bit of fun. I figured I'd bring all these levels together into one video and give them a chance to shine. I've covered a lot of these on my channel in the past, so if you want to see more from these levels, feel free to hunt down those videos. But in this video, I'm going to play through each of these levels, give my thoughts, and talk about them. I'll be using the PS1 version of Doom to play most of these, as I view that as the best way to experience the Jaguar levels. For the original Xbox exclusive levels, I'm just going to be playing on an original Xbox console. And just as a quick note, because I know someone will bring it up, I won't be playing the 8 exclusive GBA multiplayer levels, as they are multiplayer only, but I do acknowledge that they exist as levels exclusive to that version of the game. So this is Hellgate, or Tower of Babel, depending on which version of Doom you're playing. This ends up serving as a direct replacement for Tower of Babel in a lot of the 1990s console releases. You can see we've grabbed the plasma rifle there at the starter level. We can head back up to that middle section if we really want to. We can't head inside these doors just yet. And you can see as soon as we step out here, it's just one big trap. Good thing we have the plasma rifle and we just grab the shotgun. You do need to be a bit careful on this level. Enemies do try to swarm you as best they can, and the thing is, if you're pistol starting or you have to restart because you've died, this one can get a bit messy. Of course, the berserk pack in the middle of those barrels is booby trapped. As soon as you grab it, a door will open just by the switch there with a Baron of Hell and some pinkies inside, but I do want to grab it because it's going to be really useful. Being able to punch out pinkies is going to be really useful for me here. If we hit this switch, it does open up the other sections as well. Those have cacodemons inside. Come over here and grab the cell ammo. You can see that this is very much an arena type map. The enemies sort of flood in and you have to deal with all of these. You can run past them if you really want to. If you're not feeling up for facing all these barons and the pinkies and the cacodemons, you can just hit the switch and try your best to run to the exit. But I kind of like taking on the enemies here. It's quite a fun encounter. Once you've hit that last switch there, these weapons do open up and you do get access to a rocket launcher. Like I said, if you're bringing weapons in from the previous levels, this level is a lot easier, but pistol starting, some of these console levels can be pretty brutal. If you play this on PlayStation 1 or Sega Saturn, you actually get to go to Tower of Babel a bit later on, so this doesn't end up serving as a replacement, it's just kind of put in to pad the levels out. It's a fine level. I don't think it's anything too memorable. Short, sweet, with a lot of intense encounters, especially if you're coming in with very little ammo, health, or you just want a pistol start. But to me, it is a very fun little outing. It's nothing too special, nothing too memorable, but I think that as a sharp encounter for console Doom players, it hits the spot, but not in a super memorable way, and it's definitely no direct replacement for the Cyberdemon encounter, which is missing in a lot of the ports. This is Hell Keep. Now, this features in a lot of the 90s console ports, and it replaces the opening level of Inferno, which is the same name. You'll see that there's a few thematic similarities. There's a few trees here. You can see that there's 2 ammo boxes, and when you open the first door, there is a cacodemon, although in the PC version there are 2 cacodemons. The thing with Hellkeep, in my opinion, is this level is so much more fun than the PC original version. There's a lot more things going on, there's a lot more interesting encounters, and I just feel that, yes, this level can be a bit of a slog, especially if you're pistol starting. This level's quite aggressive with ammo mounts, but I think it's a better opening level, and I think it serves as a better challenge for players, especially in the opening of the third episode. If this had been in the PC version, I would have loved it. But we need to take care of these imps here, because when we open that door to the left, there's going to be a bunch of imps on both sides, but if you come and stand at this window, you can sort of draw them towards the red key. When we open this door, as you can see, there are imps on the left-hand side. We don't really need to deal with those. They won't really come down and attack us unless we go up there to directly face them. What we're better off doing in this level is trying to conserve ammo. We do need to hit this switch to lower the red key. As soon as we grab the red key there, a bunch of monster closets are going to open up. It's kind of imperative that you are quick getting out of that room if you don't want to fight all the enemies, just because if you choose to fight those enemies, you're chewing through a lot of ammo, and as you'll see as we're making our way through this level, ammo becomes quite the scarce resource. We've already got the red key, so we don't really need to worry about finding that. Obviously, the red door is there. I do want to clear out the enemies because this area does get quite messy for different enemy types. Oh, okay, that was pretty rude of you, zombie man. If you're playing on the PS1 or the Sega Saturn version, you will see a Revenant on Ultraviolence here. This is not in all of the console ports, and I think that's part of the reason why ammo ends up being a bit scarce, because you can have to do this encounter. You can run around the Revenant, but obviously you don't really want a Revenant running through the level because it'll probably chase you and hit you with one of its homing rockets. As we head up top here, there are some cacodemons round the back here. If I hadn't blown up the barrels earlier on, I could have used the barrels to do damage on the cacodemons, but unfortunately the zombie men were hanging around those. Grab all the ammo here, grab the blue key. When you drop down here, it actually opens up a second monster closet over here. This one is important because it does have the chain gun inside, and we really want that chain gun. I'm hoping for a bit of infighting here. We can see what happens. Okay, I think we've got some good infighting going on here. Good thing there, though, is the cacodemon was... Oh, did not mean to get hit by that imp. So we're not doing too well for health here. This room is very much designed for a massive encounter. We'll grab the yellow key there, and you can see that a bunch of imps and some cacodemons are now flooding the area. Because we're locked in, we need to come inside here and grab these medkits, because if I try and go for these switches, I'm inevitably going to get hit. Once you hit that switch though, a secret area opens up over here, and pretty much the rest of this level now, you can either run straight to the exits, which I recommend if you're not going for 100% kills, or you can take out all of these enemies. Unfortunately, one of the more frustrating parts about this version of Hellkeep is that the ammo is so scarce that unless you're very careful with it, if you're doing a pistol start, you are inevitably going to run out of ammo. You really need to be careful with it. Infighting would probably help me out here, but to be honest, since we're only showing this level off, I don't really feel that urge to, you know, do that. We'll head inside here. You can see all those enemies are still stuck over there. To be fair, if I'd taken out all the imps here first, I might have been able to take out the pinkies with my fists, but that just seems rather laborious. What I'm going to do instead, we're just going to head to the exit here, but that is Hellkeep, and in my opinion, it's a much better opening level, at least what I would say call an opening level, than the original Inferno version of it. It's fun, it's frantic, it's a bit mean with its health and ammo, but considering that this is supposed to be the opening to the health section of Doom, it's not that unfair to suggest that, you know, this should be a little bit more difficult, and I think it's a much better level than its PC namesake. This level is Twilight Descends. It is the penultimate level of the Ultimate Doom section of PS1 Doom, so this doesn't actually feature in any of the other console ports, and I think that's a bit of a shame, because if you were to ask me, I think this is probably the best console exclusive level that is not in the PC version, because in my opinion, if you put this in Doom 1 or Doom 2, it would probably be considered one of the best levels. You can see the level opens pretty aggressively. We've got a Baron here, we've got some imps up the top. Luckily we can grab the shotgun and make slow work of the Baron of Hell. Remember, in Doom 1 on PS1 you do get access to the super shotgun, but it's only from the secret level that you can access from this level. Yes, this level does have its own secret level. I'm going to be making good use of the chainsaw in order to open the secret that I was just glancing at. We do need to head inside here and hit the switch. We'll head over here and take care of the pinkies inside here. Once you've hit that switch, you can grab the chain gun, and that means we are pretty well stocked for the opening part of this level. You can see the blue door there, the red door round the back. We do need to head up here. There's quite a lot of hit scanners who will shoot through this window here. There's also a Baron of Hell that we need to be very, very careful of. As you can see, it's already hit me once, done a pretty nasty job on me there. Wow, really? That's pretty nasty. So the thing about this level, in my opinion, is that it is of such quality that if you put this in among the original PC levels of Doom or Doom 2, it would probably be considered really well liked. And I know I've already said that, but it's worth me emphasizing that, because when people say that they don't feel the urge to come and play these console versions of Doom, it's a bit frustrating, because it's levels like this that I feel really stand out from the crowd. Especially from Doom 2's crowd, which in my opinion doesn't have the very best selection of levels across the board. We can hit that switch. We're going to make sure to take out that imp. From here we do need to do some slight platforming over the top of these boxes here, these crates. Make sure you grab everything that you're going to need. I do recommend making sure you grab as many of the rockets as you can get, because you'll be needing those towards the back end of the level. Once we jump over here, you can see that there's not much danger here. We've taken out all the enemies through the window. I don't like that you have to step on this little crate here to lower the blue key. That for me is a bit silly. But when you hit that switch, it does lower some of the crates over there, so you can step out of this area, and you can also use the teleport if you really want to. If we step into the teleporter here, you can hear that a secret door opened up, and we can grab ourselves a supercharge. Not going to argue against that, because the next little bit of this level is a tiny bit frustrating. As you can see, an area here is opened up with some Caco demons and imps. We will want to jump up there, because there is an ammo backpack that we can grab. take care of the Cacodemon here. As mentioned, there is an ammo backpack up here, and it's very much worth your time to come and grab it if your pistol's starting. We can't go through the red door yet, but we can go into the blue door here. There's a whole bunch of enemies inside, shotgunners, pinkies. There's some Cacodemons right at the back of the room, up the stairs. Didn't mean to pull out the pistol there, but I kind of had no choice but to run with it. You can see that they have positioned some shotgunners up high there. The idea there, I suspect, is to just try and catch you out. There you go. There's those Cacodemons we were talking about. That supercharge across from us there, we won't be getting that until right near the end of the level. The darkness in this room really does kind of help to mask the movement of the Cacodemons. It does add a lot of menace into this. If you're playing on Sega Saturn, you won't be seeing any of these rich colours, because that doesn't actually make use of the cold lighting. It is in the game, it's just not used. Want to make sure the imps are taken care of there. The imps are kind of caged up, and when you cross the threshold at the top of the stairs there is a monster closet stuffed with shotgunners. Again, never a bad idea to make sure I'm stocked well up on health. You can see the red key there. Now, because this room is so dark, and because a lot of people who are playing on CRT TVs might have a bit of difficulty seeing where to go next, I'm going to have a quick chat about... Sometimes I think in PS1 Doom, the lighting is great, but then sometimes I think it really does kind of mask the direction forward. Especially in the darker rooms, it can get really, really hard to see sometimes. And obviously Doom 64 has that exact same issue with some of its presentation. There is a blue armor in here, so it's worth coming over here if you want to protect yourself. Remember, kids, use protection. We're going to drop down. I saved that Berserk pack for when I felt I might need it, and it feels like right now is the time for that. I will say that door is quite hard to see because of the lighting, but I do love the lighting around this area. The red glow from the candles here really does add a lot of ambience into this space. As we make our way to the back of the room here, we're going to see the puzzle that is going to occupy the next few minutes of this gameplay. I do need to point out, I have had this puzzle here soft lock on me in the past. It's not very often, but it does happen sometimes. And it is a bit frustrating when it does end up happening. What I'm trying to do here is draw out these Cacodemons, just to make sure they don't sort of sit on top of that sector there. When you hit that switch, the steps rise up. There are a bunch of switches in this area that you have to go and find to raise up the steps further. If you didn't take care of those shotgunners earlier, well, that's the moment you'd be doing that. I do think it's a bit mean to put one of the switches behind this door here, just because it is mostly a secret door, and it's quite hard to see against the other wood textures around it. It is what it is. 1990s Doom levels kind of just did that kind of thing when they felt like it. When you hit that switch, this area here opens up, and you can head out to hit this switch, and that's what actually raises the step. Make sure to grab the rockets, because we will be needing it towards the level's end. There's one final switch there. We should now be able to run up and grab the red key. We will be needing the red key, as that leads us around to the final portion of this level. What I like about this level is that there's a very strong sense of progression. Again, we can't grab that until the end of the level. I just feel that there's a nice escalation in this one. It's paced very well. There's a lot of interesting encounters. As we head here, there's a bunch of imps in the cages. There's some shotgunners to the right who are going to make their way down the steps. There's also a bunch of barons over there. I am playing on ultra violence. If you're playing on the easier difficulties, you won't be seeing all of these. I really just want this baron to go down here. There is an invulnerability over there in front of us here. If you really want to grab it, you can do. It will make things a lot easier, although I like to save it for when we're going through that mine there, just because I find some of the enemies in there to be a bit annoying to deal with because they teleport in. You do need to make use of running here to get across this gap. But once you're over here, you can grab the yellow key and that will help point you in the direction for the way forward. I do find it interesting they put the yellow key there because you can't get to the final part of the level without it, but you need to hit that switch to actually get into the mine here, so, you know, kind of feels a bit pointless, but hey ho. As we round this corner, there's some enemies who will teleport in around us. That's why I've switched away from the rocket launcher. Just got to be careful when you're going around these corners. Here we go. You can see here, these enemies are going to teleport in. Take care of the enemies around this pier. Well, is it a pier? Is it like a little platform? Who knows? Now I want to point out there is actually a secret exit on this level, and it is somewhere around here. There it is. Basically, if you don't want to deal with the final part of this level, you don't have to. You can come in here and you can make your way into the secret exit. It is a bit tricky to get in here. I'm going to show you how to do it, but we're not going to go into it. It's actually at the back of where that plasma rifle was there. We need to take care of the baron around here first. It's worth coming into this secret even if you don't want to go to the secret level, just because it has the plasma rifle in it. And that will be insanely useful. What you need to do, you need to hit this candle at the back of this area, run around here, and as you can see, the back wall opened up there. If I'd wanted to go in, I could have dashed forward there. Didn't really want to do that though. I want to go through the normal exit for this one. Load of health and ammo here for us to stock up on. I do recommend it because there's quite a few enemies in the back half of this level. As you can see, 2 barons and 2 cacodemons. That is not a nice encounter. Grab the rockets there. That's where the exit is located on this one. As we step forward here, there's some cacodemons to the left, and behind a wall to the right there's a whole bunch of shotgunners who, if you try to rush through here, they'll ambush you from behind and they'll take away whatever health you've got. It's not a small number either, it's quite a large number of them. So just be careful as you're doing that. We already have the yellow key, so really we just need to grab the supercharge here. Told you we would come back for it later in the level, and then we just head inside the yellow door. Inside here there's some spectres, there's a nightmare spectre, and there's also a few barons in the centre of the room. It's important to try and manage the spectres here. If you let them overwhelm you, the barons will have free shots at you. It ends up getting very, very messy. What I like to do is just stand behind this pillar here, because the barons can't shoot me, and it gives me free scope to shoot these pinkies as they're running around the outside here. If you've never played PlayStation 1 Doom, the Nightmare Spectre is exclusive to that version of Doom. It's a slightly tankier pinky. It can hit a bit harder as well when it bites you, so it's a bit of a pain in the backside. Take you out with the shotgun. There's one final Nightmare Spectre here, and that's pretty much the level over with. Honestly, love this level. Think it's really, really strong. It's a very fun level to play through. Nice escalation, some really fun encounters, and even at the level's end here, you get to fight these two imps. Like I said, I'm a really big fan of this one. This is probably one of my favourite console exclusive levels. It's definitely got a fun progression to it, and overall I think that it serves as a nice penultimate level, if you don't count the secret level, for Doom 1 in PS1 Doom. But I would definitely never say no to this ever making an appearance in a PC version of Doom, because I feel it would be really fun for a lot of people to experience. Twilight Descends definitely leaves a very positive impression, and we're heading into Threshold of Pain, which serves as the final level for the Ultimate Doom portion of PlayStation 1. These two levels come back to back, and I think that they really complement each other in terms of gameplay. Threshold of Pain serves as the final level for the Doom 1 portion of PlayStation 1. And what that means is this level really doesn't hold your hands in terms of difficulty. This is quite the difficult offering, and there are moments in it which are frustrating, but as you can see from this opening room here, it's definitely not afraid to throw lots of different enemies at you and for you to face them down. I really appreciate the fact that this doesn't pull any punches, and you'll see what I mean as we're kind of wandering through. There's a lot of different challenges thrown at the player. It really does serve as a great test for what the player's learned up to this point. Now, as you can see, when we passed into that other room, spectres started spawning in behind us and in front of us, and again, that's somewhat of a cheap trick. I think one's just spawned in behind us again. It has indeed. Now obviously, if you come in with all the weapons from the previous levels, which you probably will do in PlayStation 1 Doom, then I would say that this level gets a lot easier, especially if you have the super shotgun from the Marshes. I've had a very complicated relationship with this level over the years. When I first played this, I hated this level. I felt that it didn't really deliver the kind of final offering that I wanted. However, as the years have passed and as I've played it more and more, I've really come to appreciate what this level is shooting for. Obviously, we've just run out of ammo, and we've dealt with a lot of enemies so far, so I'm just going to see if there's any ammo that I can pick up. No, there isn't. That's unfortunate. We're just going to have to, unfortunately, stomach punching pinkies in the face, which, you know, is part and parcel of the Doom experience, isn't it, at points? But like I said, with this level, I hated it for the longest time, and over time I've kind of grown to appreciate what it is, and I would personally put it probably is the best boss level in any of these retail Doom games. I just think that it offers the complete package. Grab the shotgun shells there. I'll clear out the imp here. It gives me space here to take down these pinkies and spectres. Next thing is to take care of the Hell Knights. You'll notice that in PlayStation 1 Doom, it does play fast and loose with the different enemy types. So for example, Hell Knights here definitely weren't part of the original Doom experience, but here they are in the final level for PlayStation 1 Doom, which, you know, I kind of appreciate. Just want this Hell Knight to come forward. Just got to be careful as we're going around the corners here. There's also pain elementals here. Those, once again, were definitely not part of the original Doom experience. I am out of ammo again. See what I can find running around here. I think the best place for me to go is all the way down here, because there's some shotgunners here that we can steal some ammo off of, and there's also Berserk Pack. As you can see, things get a bit messy because this level does love its pain elementals, and I kind of suspect that's what the title of the level is in reference to, because it really does love throwing pain elementals at you. Which is quite surprising because obviously they can spawn in lost souls, so they can cause problems in the PlayStation 1 version of Doom specifically. At least now we've got the Berserk punch, which should power up our punches considerably. I think the level design here probably could have done with a bit more sort of tweaking, because I feel that these sort of curved corridors do kind of blend into each other a bit too much. They do kind of all end up feeling quite similar. Once you've played the level a few times, you do get used to where to go, but obviously if you're a newcomer, you're going to get lost in these twisty-turvy passageways, because they do all kind of end up blending into one big kind of mess. If we go down here, I think the supercharge is through this. Yes, it is. So this is back at the start of the level, but now we've got a ton of health, which definitely not going to complain about. We also have a load of shotgun ammo here, which I'm not going to complain about. I'm getting munched from behind. You can see the blue key was at the top of that platform there. We won't be going back for that for quite a while yet, so we may as well just continue through the level here. As we head up top here, you can see we're coming to an outdoor area that is very busy. There's a bunch of lost souls who are going to flood in from that window there. There's imps on top of these platforms, and there's two Hell Knights right at the top of the room behind us who are going to be throwing fireballs at us if we're not careful. Oh, I think there's a lost soul behind me. Yes, oh wow, there's two of them. Again, one thing I really appreciate about the PS1 presentation, we are in hell here. You can see the skies are huge flames. This is supposed to be a very fiery area, and I do love that the colour scheme in these levels in the outdoor areas really complements the fact that you're supposed to feel like you're in this huge hellish area. It really does add a lot of ambience to proceedings. We can take out some of the lost souls over there. There's no particular reason why we would do that, other than it'll make things a touch easier when we get to that room later on. One thing I hate about this level though, and I've hated this since I was a kid, the way forward from this section is actually down the bottom here. This little passageway here is not super well signposted, and I feel that if you look at that from anywhere in that room we were just in, it just looks like a wall, and the only way that you find out that it's not a wall is to walk right up to it. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for cryptic puzzles and sort of putting things in plain sight and hiding them slightly, but this level is already twisty and turny enough. Players looking through those twisty corridors, looking for the way forward, might get very frustrated, as I did when I played this as a kid. It took a long time for me to figure out the way forward, and that sticks with me all these years later. We don't have a rocket launcher right now. That would be the ideal way to take down these guys. Grab the red skull key there. It's time to do a tiny bit of backtracking here. We do need to get across that gap with the platforms there. So what we'll do, we'll head down here and head back around to where the wall dropped down. We need to run across here. You do need to be a bit careful because with the PS1 controller or the D-pad controls, it is quite frustrating because it's very hard to sort of make subtle turns like you would on the PC. I guess another thing that I appreciate as well about this level is that it tries to have an escalation. For me, good boss levels in these kind of games should always have a rise towards the boss, and it should really test the skills that the player has learned throughout the journey to the final level. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not a fan of Icon of Sin levels. I feel that they don't really test the player on what they've learned in the game, because when in classic Doom do you have to fire a rocket at an exact moment to do something, it doesn't happen in any of the retail Doom games, and I feel that Icon of Sin is just a letdown, which is why levels like this make me happy, because even though this level isn't the biggest, it isn't the most detailed, but I find these kind of final levels a lot more interesting to engage with than just simple Icon of Sin finales. We're going to take out the Hell Knight through the window here. There's a lost soul floating around next to it. We can go outside if we want to, but obviously that's not really the best shout right now. Instead, I'm going to grab the plasma rifle here. This will be insanely useful as we make our way through the rest of this level. There's a whole bunch of enemies who will come down this little channel here. I want to get rid of the nightmare pinkies here before I jump down, because if I let them get too close to me, they will overwhelm me and they will start chomping away at health. There is a lost soul behind me there. There we go. I wanted to try and get it to go back in front of me. This is why I wanted to pick up the plasma rifle. It just makes things so much easier when you're dealing with those enemies, and it means I don't have to worry about blowback like off the rocket launchers. Rockets. Take out the lost soul there. What I'm doing here, I'm just quickly looking around and making sure there are no lost souls hanging about. I don't think they're going to cause too much of a problem, but the problem is, if you let them hang around, they could attack me later on when I might not have as much health. There is a rocket launcher up here, which I'm going to grab. The rocket launcher is going to be insanely useful as we move to the back end of this level. When we hit this switch, a doorway is going to open up. It will close again fairly quickly, so we have to move as quickly as we can. Once we jump off a ledge here, we are not going to be able to jump back up there. So this area is probably the one part of this level I am not a huge fan of. As you can see, when we stepped onto the rockets there, a bunch of Hell Knights have popped out, and they're sort of walking down this channel towards us. I kind of wish there was something a bit more here. Don't get me wrong, Hell Knights can be fun, but I feel like if this had been a Spider Mastermind or a Cyber Demon, it would have been a lot more interesting, because obviously this is a very narrow channel where we'd have had to have fought those enemies in this space, but I feel like Hell Knight was the weakest choice they could have gone for there. Well, obviously other than zombie men and shotgunners. But we've got the blue key there, and what that means is we can head towards the end of this level. I'm not too fussed about health at this stage, because Once we go inside the teleport around this corner, we can actually pick up the Megasphere, and we'll be needing this at the end of the level. What this level tries to do, it tries to kind of have its cake and eat it, because the final room of this level, even though it isn't really a monster spawner, it tries to create the illusion of a monster spawner, and I do appreciate that. You'll see what I mean when we get there. When we head into here, we come to this sort of star-shaped area, and there's a bunch of Hell Knights here. We could technically turn around and leave the level here, but you can see that back in the star area here, where the lava is, there's a bunch of Pain Elementals spawning in, and they are going to be shooting lost souls out. And that's what makes this area particularly difficult, because obviously with all of these Pain Elementals shooting out lost souls, and you've got the Hell Knights at the top of the level, it turns into quite the chaotic final battle area. And again, I do appreciate the fact that they tried to do something a bit different here. Obviously you can't do an Icon of Sin in PlayStation 1 Doom on real hardware, because that would just crash the game eventually. But you can see already, like, there's a lot of enemies here, and we're going to want to get rid of all of these. Like I said, I could have gone to the exits here, but obviously I want to try getting rid of as many of these as I can. Using the rockets is kind of a double-edged sword as well, because the lost souls kind of charge up to you, and they are not afraid to die to get rid of you. If the rocket would latch onto the lost soul though, that would be really, really useful. I'll take out the Hell Knights from a distance here. There's not much they can really do other than throw fireballs at us. And that's the end of Doom 1 on PlayStation 1. Like I said, I really like this final level. I think it hits all the right points, and at one point I hated this a lot, but I've really come to appreciate what it's trying to achieve as the years have passed. Threshold of Pain is a really, really fun outing in my opinion. It's a bit confusing at points. The curved passageways make it a bit difficult to explore, especially if you're playing on a CRT TV where the blacks are going to be really black and it's hard to see sometimes, but I feel that it really achieves the aims it sets out. So from one final level to another, we're going to be jumping into Doom 2 PS1's Redemption Denied. Now this only appears on PlayStation 1 and Sega Saturn. This is the final level of Doom 2's section of PS1 Doom, and I have to be honest, this one is a bit of a letdown. It's a very, very big room, don't get me wrong. Like, this is probably one of the biggest rooms that is unbroken in all of Doom 2 on PlayStation 1, but the problem is that I find this final encounter a bit of a letdown. If you're playing this normally, there's a good chance you brought all your weapons in from the previous level, and even if you haven't, this level stocks you up so well with armor and ammo and weapons and bullets and rockets that it kind of feels a bit easy. And you can see here there's a bunch of Barons of Hell. The real danger for us is when we have to get close to them to do anything, but in truth, all we have to do is stand back and shoot them from a distance. The Barons can't really get near us unless we let them get near us, and all we have to do is strafe around them, and that's pretty much it. Again, the biggest danger to us is not the enemies themselves, it's like it's me blasting myself in the face. And once we've got rid of the Barons of Hell, the walls in the corner drop down, and you can see that we get a Spider Mastermind. But it's not just one Spider Mastermind, it's actually two Spider Masterminds. And that makes this a bit of a unique encounter in all of classic Doom, because I think, unless I'm mistaken and someone's going to correct me, this is the only time that you see two Spider Masterminds in the same space as each other. And what's particularly interesting is you can actually get them to infight. I'm going to see if I can make that happen here, because seeing two spider masterminds infight is a pretty unique experience. I'm trying to get this other spider mastermind to come into the area in front of me. You can hear it stepping up there. See if I'm brave enough to do this. If I had more health, this wouldn't be too difficult, but I'm hoping that other spider mastermind starts shooting here. Are you going to start shooting? And it has done. Excellent. So you can see there the spider mastermind has started to shoot, and now they are shooting each other. So they're going to do all the hard work for me here. They're going to just shoot at each other, and I'm going to just observe. So whichever one survives, I'll just blast with some plasma, and this is the final encounter in Doom 2, and it's infighting. It's an infighting fight. You can take them down on their own if you want, but to be honest, it's so much more fun to see them take each other out. You just have to make sure you don't lose too much health to this thing, and that's it. That's the end of Doom 2 on PS1. Again, it's kind of underwhelming. It's not particularly great, and I just feel that after Doom 1 on PlayStation 1 created this really unique level that really tested the player, I feel like this one is a bit of a letdown. The large Baron encounter, it doesn't really challenge at this point because the player's so overstocked with weapons, and the level gives so many weapons and so many rockets. And then the Spider Mastermind encounter, well, I mean, it's Spider Masterminds. They're not very good at the best of times, but here they're really not good. So we're going to dive back here into PlayStation 1 Doom for a second, and yes, this is PlayStation 1 Doom. You might not think so looking at the skybox, and you might not think so because there's a super shotgun on this level, but this is actually a secret level between the final two levels in the Doom 1 section of PS1 Doom. And you can see that we have to kill this cyber demon. What makes this unique is that you have to kill the cyber demon if you want to leave this level. This is also the only official way that you can get a super shotgun into the Doom 1 section of PS1 Doom. The cyber demon here being distracted by that Hell Knight, really useful for me. So this is a very non-linear level. You can run around and you can do as much as you, or little as you want here. There's different areas to explore. Do not go into that teleporter over there. It leads to a trap, a very nasty one, as it happens. Once you've dealt with the cyber demon, you can explore this area to your heart's content. There's not really that much going on here. It's just a bunch of weapons, it's just a bunch of armor pickups. Very useful if you're heading to the final level in PS1 Doom, because it'll give you a nice big boost. But really, the whole point of these little areas is that when you're fighting the cyber demon, you're supposed to run around and find them. That's where the trap is. You can't escape from there. The switches on the left and right here actually turn on and off the lighting outside. It actually makes it darker. This was pointed out to me in a live stream. And it is... You can't see now because we've got the light amplification goggles on, but when those start to run out, you'll see the difference. You'll see how dark things get outside. We'll grab the rocket launcher here. If you run across this little gap, you can actually grab a megasphere, and this leads towards the BFG. If you run outside, teleport you. Just look how dark this gets. When you start playing around with the switches, it really does mess around with the lighting levels. We just picked up a supercharge. There are other little areas that you can run to, but to be honest, This level's mostly about the cyber demon encounter. It's a fun cyber demon encounter. I really like what they tried to do here, and it's very unique in classic Doom, definitely. Again, this is another level that I think would have really served as a great secret level, potentially in Thy Flesh Consumed. Imagine if Thy Flesh Consumed didn't have fear, but it had this as a secret level. That would have been interesting. That would have at least been unique. But no, the Marshes is exclusive to the console versions of Doom, and in my opinion, it's a fun little novelty secret level that gives you the super shotgun in Doom 1, and what more could you want, really? It's definitely not going to win any awards for being the best level in all of Doom, but I think in terms of unique experiences and just giving the Cyber Demon a real showcase, I think it does an excellent job of that. It's atmospheric, it's tense, and it's just a fun blast to end Doom 1 on. Welcome to the Mansion. This is a secret level that's been added into Doom 2 on PlayStation 1 and Sega Saturn. It's actually a really fun level, although I will say it does get a bit complicated the further you kind of go into it. First thing we're going to do here is just get rid of the shotgunners. You can see the blue key in the center of the room there. We do need to run onto that. You can cheese it a bit by running from the side on the right hand side there. You've got to be a bit careful with some of the enemies on this one. This level does get quite hectic. There's a lot of different enemy types on here. But you do get a super shotgun in this room, which is pretty cool. So this is the sort of central puzzle to this level. You need to go into the 4 teleporters that are sort of on those little platforms there. And they sort of rise up and down. They take you to different parts of the level, and it's a bit unfortunate that you kind of have to run in and guess where they are. Initially, you don't really have a way to tell where you're meant to be going. I know that the banners in the middle there are supposed to kind of indicate, but they don't really do a great job, I'm going to be honest. So as you can see, this has brought us to here, which is a secret area with a backpack in it. It's not particularly useful for us right this second. What we're going to do, we're going to run over here. So this actually takes us to the blue key area. Now the thing here is that you're supposed to do a big run up there, but like I mentioned, you can cheese it and run from the side and grab it if you really want to. Let's go. Just wait for this to come down. There we go. We got it legit. When you open the blue door here, it has a bunch of enemies inside. To the right hand side, there's actually a secret compartment with some rockets in it. To be honest, this level doesn't look out of place with the rest of Doom 2. If this had been put into the normal roster of levels for Doom 2, you really wouldn't have thought much of it. We'll take out this Hell Knight here. In the middle there are some shotgunners, so you've got to be really wary of them. There's a supercharge in there as well. as we head through this area here, you can see there's a pain elemental on the stairs here. So one of the design choices I don't like about this level is this area here. So you can see there's a bunch of pillars in this room. Some of them actually come down when you click on them from behind, but the thing is the game doesn't really indicate this to you. So the first time you come to this level, there's a good chance you're going to get stuck here for a few minutes trying to figure out what it is you're meant to do. You can also see that the lighting in this one is a bit funky. It feels like we're in a bit of a tech rave here. Bunch of enemies spawning in there. Just wants to be a bit careful. You can see on the map, like, where the triggers are. So there's the yellow key. Yes, using the map is a bit of a cheat, but at the same time, this is a very cheap puzzle, so I don't feel too bad about cheesing it. As you can see, picking up the yellow key has awoken a bunch of monsters. Yeah, so as is the way with Doom, when you pick something up, you never get it for free. It's always kind of given to you at a cost. The yellow door is here. It is a bit off to the side. You do have to be a bit observant to make sure you don't miss it. We're going to move back up here, and you can see now that the pillar there has been removed, so we can actually head outside. So we're about to come up to one of the most unique puzzles in all of retail Doom, and this one, I have to say, it's a very mixed bag for me. It can be really fun, but it can also be a bit frustrating. As you can see, you have to follow the teleporters around, and you have to make sure that you don't walk into the wrong teleporter, because you get kicked into that little torture room. So you have to follow the right puzzle here. But it does mean we can grab the red key, but then of course when we back out, I get sent to that room anyway. It's definitely a unique puzzle. I don't know if I'd consider it a good puzzle. Get rid of the Hell Knights there. Gonna pick up the health as I see it, because we are running a bit low on that. Got plenty of plasma ammo though, which I'm really happy about. Did that just to get rid of anything that was lingering around. I don't mind taking on the Hell Knights, but having a room full of lost souls, they tend to do their own thing. So now we're looking to head towards the end of this level. If we head up here, the red door is actually in this room here. It's to the right hand side. We want to take care of the Hell Knight here. When we hit this switch, it will actually lower the bars back in that central puzzle room. There were some red bars that were stopping us from accessing one of the teleporters. Oops, did not mean to drop down here. There we go. That was almost embarrassing. Although now I definitely do need to go and hunt down some health. I've left myself a bit short here, which I didn't really want to do at this point. The exit's actually there in front of us, but that's where we get teleported when we go through the red teleporter that we just opened up. Well, I guess we can try finishing the level. There is a secret exit on this level that takes you to Club Doom, if you're so inclined. I think if we go through here, there's a supercharge. There is. Nice. Yeah, so that's the supercharge where the shotguns were a bit earlier in the level. Just checking to see if there's anything I've missed here. I don't think there is. I think we've got a pretty clear run to the end of a level on this one. Again, I think the mansion's actually a fun level. I think if this was part of the normal Doom 2 set, it would probably fall in the upper half of levels, in my opinion, in terms of quality. There's definitely a solid level here. There's a lot of infighting going on in there. You can see it's going for the atmospheric exit here. And there's a nice flashing light there to indicate where we're meant to go. We're going to exit the level here. So yeah, this takes us back to Tenements, but if you go through the secret exit, you'll be taken to Club Doom. I think this is a really fun level. It's definitely the strongest of the Doom 2 secret levels, and overall it's definitely in the top tier when it comes to these console exclusive levels. If this was a part of the main Doom 2 roster of levels, I don't think people would have complained that much. It's definitely better than a lot of the downtown based levels that are in the final Doom 2 release. But yeah, the mansion for me, very solid outing. That puzzle though with the teleporters, unique, can be a bit frustrating if you don't figure out what you're meant to do there, but hey, I guess that's part of the fun. So we're going to head into Club Doom here. On the left hand side you can see the Williams logo. As we head up the stairs, the music changes to this techno beat, and yes, that is the music for this level. So basically, Club Doom is a lap of honour for Williams. It's just them kind of laying their hair down and sort of showing what they can do with this like modified version of the Doom engine that they've built, and I really love this level. It's so quirky, it's so fun. This for me is what a secret level should be. It should be so stupid and so kind of ridiculous that it doesn't fit anywhere else in the game, but here as like a lap of honour, it just works. And yes, I can confirm that having been to many clubs at 2 o'clock in the morning, this is what ends up happening at the end of the night. You know, you just stand around shooting revenants in their cages. Club Doom is definitely a one-of-a-kind level, and I appreciate the fact that it exists, even if it's absolutely ridiculous. So what we're going to do here, we're going to see if I can take down the revenants with the pistol. Never the best idea. Look at ThatNukemGuy strutting his stuff on the dance floor here. I don't think there's actually any ammo back there, unfortunately. I'm going to grab all the health we can. If you hit this switch, it does allow you to go for the Megasphere. How do we get the Megasphere again? I've actually forgotten how to grab the Megasphere in this level. So if I hit that, I think that leads us, yeah, towards the exit of the level. You can see here that there's like this weird little back room. It's full of blood, it's full of guts, it's got translucent textures going on here. It's a very silly level, this one, but it's a really, really fun one to experience. That was Club Doom. No other level like that in Retail Doom. It's very much a product of its placement. A secret level with a sense of humour, and we love to see that. So we're leaving PlayStation Doom behind here and we are playing Sewers. Now, Sewers is the super secret level attached to the original Xbox version of Doom. Interestingly, this is called Sewers, but I'd argue the other secret level in original Xbox Doom is actually more like a sewer. From what I've been able to glean, these levels were put in by the person that ported the classic Doom games over to the original Xbox version of Doom 3. And you have to remember that you couldn't just buy a version of classic Doom for the original Xbox, you had to buy Doom 3 Collector's Edition, which came in the metal tin, or you had to buy Doom 3 Resurrection of Evil on Xbox. And either of those would grant you access to this version of Doom. And what that means here is that you get 2 extra levels. This is the first one. It's very, very much a early WOD. I actually think, from what I've been able to find in research, this was part of a bigger WOD from 1995, and the person who ported this over just put these in as a bit of a laugh. It's kind of funny though, because that makes these levels, even though they are amateur hour galore, part of the Doom canon in a weird and twisted way. But you can see that this falls back on pretty much every my first WOD creation trope that you can imagine. Big ugly rooms, textures are misaligned, everything is falling apart here as you look around. The layout of the level is not great. It doesn't lend itself to a fun exploration time. And yeah, it's a rough one, this one. It's a rough one. As we make our way to the end here, enjoy the fact that the lights are on both the floor and the roof in this room. I want you to enjoy that. If you've never played the original Xbox version of Doom, it's actually not a terrible port. It actually kind of forms the basis for a lot of the ports moving forward. A lot of the things that were introduced in this version end up becoming commonplace in future console ports, like the reintroduction of pitched sounds, which were part of the original Doom game but then patched out. So everything in this game has pitch shifting galore. The only problem I have with this version of Doom, I guess, is that you can't customize the controls. You're pretty much stuck with what they give you. So these are the titular sewers. They're really just kind of a water maze. There's a lot going on in this area, and to be honest, like you're seeing here, there's really not that much to get excited about. What's also interesting about these levels is that when you complete this level, it doesn't put you on the second level in Knee Deep in the Dead, because in order to get to this level, there's a secret exit been placed into E1M1, but it actually places you back into E1M1, so theoretically, you can keep coming to this level over and over and over, and it'll just send you back to E1M1, creating a sort of infinite loop if that's what you desire. You've probably also noticed that this kind of breaks the logic of Ultimate Doom slightly, because this actually has enemies that shouldn't appear until the Shores of Hell in it. So for example, you've already seen Lost Souls, there are Caco demons floating around down here as well, and there's a bunch of barons outside here that we'll have to deal with. So there's 2 barons outside here. I just want to go around collecting all the health and the ammo. Fighting barons with the shotgun is not really the best way to play Doom, but it does provide a very unique Doom 1 challenge, because if this were Doom 2, we'd be using the super shotgun, no doubt. I'm just looking around for health here, because we did get a bit of health taken off us. We need to find the yellow key, but in order to get the yellow key, we need the blue key. The blue key is actually quite deep into this sewer. I think it's down here. It is down here. So in front of the blue key, there's actually this pain floor that we've got to be aware of. You have to head up this lift here. I think there's a cacodemon. Yes, there is. Just be careful, because there's a barrel there. Well, once you grab the blue key, we can head towards the blue door. So that switch opened up a secret compartment. We'll be seeing that when we head out here. Interesting that that didn't just happen when we picked up the blue key anyway, but again, I'm not expecting sophistication from a level like this. There is a section near that switch where there's a bunch of lost souls. Question is, do I want to activate it? Go on, why not? So yeah, you end up having to fight a bunch of lost souls here. You don't really get much for fighting these, so I don't think this is a worthwhile endeavour at all. In fact, if you're going for 100% kills on this level, which, by the way, you're crazy, then these won't really count towards it, so it's not really worth doing this encounter, to be honest. If you are eternally curious to play this one, there are a few versions of this on the mod section for the Modern Doom release, and you can also get this as a standalone WOD over on the PC version. There are various WODs of this floating around on the internet. I really don't recommend coming to try this, other than to say you've played the exclusive Xbox levels, because let me tell you, the exclusive Xbox levels are trash. And it's about to get a lot trashier, because look at this assault on the eyes. This is quite the visual attack from the level here. So the way that you get into this room, you need to find a door along here. I might have to use the map in a second, because it's quite difficult to see where you're meant to be going, I'm not going to lie. You can see okay, so you have to hit the pink bit of wall, but I was too busy being blinded by the flashing lights. There's a whole bunch of cacodemons in here. I think there's a chain gun in the center as well, so as long as I control the crowd here, we should be getting our hands on a chain gun pretty nicely. I don't want to dive into that hole and then have all these cacodemons attacking me from above. That just seems like a really, really, really bad idea. I think those open when we grab the yellow key. Yes, it does. So you can see that we've got the yellow key and we've got a chain gun. Now we just have to endure this long ride up. This is why I didn't want to fight those cacodemons in this area, because we would have been caco meat. We'd have been dinner for the cacodemons. You can see that they've tried to throw a little trap in here, which I appreciate. Adds a bit of flair to this section. The room fills up with imps, but the chain gun we just got will make short work of them. Grab that health and grab that armor. We're pretty much done with this level here. All we need to do is head into the yellow door, hit a switch, and then leave. There's a bunch of spectres between us and that switch though, so something to take note of. There is a whole section to this level to the left-hand side, and I'm not really going to go exploring that because one, it's a bit pointless, and two, this level is, well, I mean, what you're seeing here is basically a representation of the bits you're not seeing from me not going there, to be honest. I would love to tell you that this level gets a lot better, but unfortunately it does not. It really, really, really does not. But I am showing you more of the sewers here, so if you want to see more sewers in your Doom experience, this is the level for you, definitely. You can hear that there's a pinky somewhere in here with us. There we are. Or there's a spectre. The only thing I know here is that we're heading deeper into the sewers. But we've already been to this section, so that's pretty good. I have a good idea where we are here. If we head around this corner, if we head down in that direction, we should be heading outside. I just want to see what's down here. No, wait, I think this is the way out. Yes, this is the way out. It gets very confusing. It gets very confusing navigating those sewers. But yes, here is the yellow door. There's a bunch of spectres in here that we have to take care of. This is probably the nicest looking part of this level. This actually feels quite like a Plutonia area with the vine walls there. And yes, I did just try to compliment this level by comparing it to Plutonia, which, you know, I know is not going to go down well with some people, but I'm trying to find nice things to say about this level. I kind of like when you go inside here as well, that the pinkies on top of those platforms that we've kind of been seeing a lot of, they actually all drop down. It's actually quite nicely thought out, this. This is probably the only nicely thought out part of this level. But you can see that all these pinkies are coming over here. If I had a rocket launcher, this would be the moment it would be getting used. It should be noted as well that... Oh wow, okay, that nearly ended badly for me. But yeah, it should be noted that if you have an Xbox 360, you can actually play the Doom 3 and Resurrection of Evil from the original Xbox on it. So if you're looking for a way to play this, that I would probably recommend that way. It's a lot easier to set that up and to make it look nice compared to the original Xbox. But let's be honest, this level was a load of rubbish. So this here is Betray. Betray is accessed by going through underhalls. There's actually a secret wall that you can hit and it will bring you to here. Now, like I said in the previous level, this feels more like a sewer than anything in sewers actually felt like. But this one's called Betray, and I can only assume that's because playing this level feels like a massive betrayal of trust from the developers. So there's a lot of interesting things about this level, namely the fact that we're using the toxic sludge floor texture and it's not actually causing us any damage. So already this level is irritating me beyond no words. This level requires us to do a fair bit of exploring. We're going to need to find the blue key. I think it's in here. I think it's in here. It's been a while since I've played this properly. Just make sure to hit the switches as we pass through. Oh no, it's the red key, sorry. We just grabbed ourselves the red key. The blue door's right there, but we can't do anything with that right now. I can hear a pain elemental somewhere, but I'm going to just run around to see if I can find where the red door is. So that's the blue door. Where's the red door? Oh, there's the red door. So the red door's in a different section. I completely forgot about that. I know that the walls in this part open up at some point. So that's something we've got to be mindful of. Remember, I'm playing this so you don't have to suffer through this, but if you really want to, the WOD for this is out there in the wild. You can download it, no one's going to care because, let's be honest, I doubt anyone even remembers this level exists. So with everything sorted here, let's have a dive into the red door. I have to say though, I feel this is much worse than the sewer level. If we're sort of picking hers here, I feel that this level is a lot worse in terms of structure. This just seems to be like a bunch of boxy rooms. We've got ourselves a plasma rifle here, and a lot of random switches that we have to press. I'm pretty sure this is what brings down the walls that I discussed earlier on. It does. So I know there's an arch vial somewhere around here. Yes, the arch vial is introduced in this secret level in this version, so hooray. There's an arachnotron. Is there an arch vial? Oh, I missed. Oh, nope, there's a bony boy. I know there's an arch vial somewhere on this level. So if we head inside here, has this opened up the doors? Make sure I've hit all the switches there. Okay. Fascinating. Oh, of course, we have to hit these switches. So we hit switches to hit more switches. That is great. The only positive I can say about this level is that at least this is not a pain floor. Can you imagine if this whole thing was just one big pain floor? And we hit switches to hit more switches. I think that's the last switch. I think that's the last switch we need to hit there. I'm trying to keep track of all these switches, I promise. Okay. I'm very nervous about going through this teleport. In fact, you know what? I'm actually going to save it. Oh, I didn't need to be that nervous. I've kind of forgotten parts of this level, which is both a blessing and a curse, because now I'm having to relive it. Oh yeah, this room. So this is a big, ugly room. It's just one big rock texture as the walls. I think the key's in here somewhere. But you can see this is a very directionless level. We're kind of just going through teleporters and hoping that we land where we need to land. So if you hit that wall there, it brings down some of these pillars. Okay. There's a switch here. Again, I don't know what that switch does, so we'll see what happens. Oh, I picked up the blue key at some point. Nice. I don't know when I picked that up. Like, I picked it up somewhere. The ultimate torment for not killing an imp would be for it to live in this level forever. I'm just trying to figure out... Okay, so we go through this one. We actually end up at a different place entirely. Okay, so let's hit this switch. Okay, this brings us back to here. I want to go back to the blue door, don't I? So how do I get back to that starting area? Oh, there is an arch vial here. Yes, I did remember that right. See, I wasn't going crazy. I knew there was an arch vial somewhere in here. Right, okay, so now we're back here. Now we've got the blue key, we should be able to progress further through here. So an interesting fact about this level, and it's a big, massive design oversight that clearly, you know, wasn't caught because it was one person working on this. Basically, at the end of the level, you need the yellow key to get through the exit door. The yellow key is in this area, and if you don't grab the yellow key before going through the teleporter, oh wow, there's a arch vial, you can actually soft lock yourself into the end of the level with no way out. So that's definitely something you don't want to be doing. Make sure to grab the yellow key. They really love that toxic floor texture, don't they? They really love it. Combined with this skybox, this just feels very, very, very unique and interesting. Definitely a weird level for sure. I don't even know what that does. Okay, brings that down. I'm going to save here because I don't want to make the mistake of not getting the yellow key. I don't know which of these teleporters takes us to the yellow door. Okay, luckily, the yellow key is here. I think if we went into the other teleporter, we would have soft locked ourselves. So you can see how easy it is to do that. Yes, it did. If we turned up here, for example, that teleporter doesn't work, you can't get out of here. That is... Ooh, we almost fell for that as well. But yeah, we're at the level's end here. Honestly, Betray is probably the worst of all these levels. It's a bit of a mess, but ultimately it's more Doom content, and what more could you want? A better level, I hear you saying, and I agree with you. But let me know what you thought of these console versions of Doom. Did you like these? Did you hate them? Which was your favourite? And thank you so much for watching.